He went to bed thinking he was perfectly fine and never woke up. What he did before sleep seemed harmless, but it silently pushed his body toward a deadly heart attack. Today, I'm going to show you the dangerous habit that is stealing lives every night, why it triggers strokes and heart attacks, and what you must do instead to protect your heart before it's too late. Hello, I'm Dr. Clarence Martin, and if you care about your health, your family, and your future, I need your full attention for the next few minutes. Every year, thousands of people suffer heart attacks and strokes that seem sudden and unexpected. Families are left asking the same painful question: how did this happen? The truth is that many of these tragedies don't begin in the emergency room. They begin with small daily habits that most people never suspect are dangerous. One particular nighttime habit has become incredibly common. People do it because it's convenient, comforting, or simply part of their routine. Yet medical research continues to show that this behavior can place enormous stress on the cardiovascular system, increasing inflammation, blood pressure, and strain on the heart while you sleep. The frightening part is that the warning signs are often silent. You may feel completely normal. You may think you're healthy. But inside your body, damage can be building night after night until one day the consequences become impossible to ignore. That's why today's message is so important. I want to help you recognize the risk, understand the science, and learn simple changes that could dramatically reduce your chances of experiencing a heart attack or stroke. Your heart works for you every second of every day. It's time to learn how to protect it. Most people assume that the habits capable of causing a heart attack or stroke are dramatic and obvious. They think of smoking heavily, living on fast food, or completely ignoring exercise. While those behaviors certainly matter, some of the most dangerous threats to your cardiovascular health are far more subtle. They are woven into everyday routines, repeated so often that they begin to feel normal. That is exactly why they become so dangerous. When a habit feels harmless, we stop questioning it. We stop paying attention to its effects. We convince ourselves that because everyone else is doing it, it must be safe. I want you to think about how many people go through their evenings on autopilot. They finish dinner, settle into a chair, scroll through their phones, watch television, snack late into the night, and eventually head to bed without giving a second thought to how their choices are affecting their heart. The body, however, is paying attention even when the mind is not. Every decision you make before sleep influences what happens inside your cardiovascular system during the hours that follow. The heart is designed to take advantage of nighttime. Sleep is not simply a period of rest for your mind. It is a critical recovery period for your entire body. During healthy sleep, blood pressure naturally decreases, the heart rate slows, and the cardiovascular system gets an opportunity to repair and restore itself. Think of it as a nightly maintenance cycle. But when certain unhealthy habits interfere with that process, the heart is forced to keep working harder than it should. What makes this especially concerning is that many people never feel immediate symptoms. They do not wake up the next morning feeling alarmed. They do not experience instant pain. Because the damage is gradual, it remains invisible. Night after night, stress accumulates. Blood vessels become less healthy. Inflammation increases. Blood pressure may remain elevated. The heart continues to carry a burden it was never intended to carry during hours that should be devoted to recovery. This is why so many cardiovascular emergencies appear to come out of nowhere. Family members often describe the victim as someone who seemed completely fine. They were laughing with loved ones the day before. They went to bed as usual. There were no obvious signs that something terrible was about to happen. Yet beneath the surface, harmful patterns may have been developing for months or even years. One of the greatest misconceptions in health is believing that danger always announces itself loudly. In reality, many of the conditions that lead to heart attacks and strokes develop quietly. High blood pressure is often called a silent killer because people can live with it for years without realizing the damage it is causing. The same principle applies to many unhealthy nighttime behaviors. The absence of symptoms does not mean the absence of risk. That is why awareness is so important. The goal is not to create fear, but to encourage understanding. When you recognize that seemingly small habits can have major consequences, you become empowered to make better choices. The decisions you make in the hours before sleep are not insignificant. They influence your heart, your circulation, your blood vessels, and ultimately your future health. The habit may seem harmless today, but ignoring it could be one of the most costly mistakes you ever make. Understanding the danger is the first step toward protecting the organ that keeps you alive every second of every day. Many people think of sleep as a time when the body simply shuts down for the night, but nothing could be further from the truth. While you are asleep, your body is carrying out some of its most important functions. Your brain is organizing information, your tissues are repairing themselves, hormones are being regulated, and perhaps most importantly, your cardiovascular system is working through a carefully designed recovery process. Understanding what happens inside your body while you sleep can help you see why certain nighttime habits can become so dangerous. When healthy sleep begins, the body gradually transitions into a state of restoration. Your heart rate slows down, blood pressure begins to decrease, breathing becomes more regular. This reduction in cardiovascular workload is not an accident. It is one of the ways your body protects your heart from constant stress. During the day, your heart responds to movement, emotions, work demands, and countless physical challenges. Nighttime is meant to provide relief from those pressures. Think of your heart as an engine that runs continuously without a single day off. Every moment of your life, it pumps blood throughout your body, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ and tissue. Sleep provides a period during which that engine can operate under less strain. The heart does not stop working, but it works more efficiently and with less resistance. This nightly recovery helps maintain healthy blood vessels, supports proper circulation, and reduces wear and tear on the cardiovascular system. Your blood vessels also undergo important changes during sleep. Healthy blood flow depends on the ability of blood vessels to relax and expand when needed. During restful sleep, the body promotes processes that support vascular health. Inflammation is regulated, stress hormones decline, and cellular repair mechanisms become more active. These changes help maintain the flexibility and function of the arteries that carry blood throughout your body. Another important factor is blood pressure. For most healthy individuals, blood pressure naturally drops during sleep. Medical professionals often refer to this as nighttime dipping. This reduction gives blood vessels an opportunity to recover from the demands of the day. However, when this normal pattern is disrupted, blood pressure may remain elevated for hours. Over time, this can place additional strain on the heart and increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Hormones also play a major role during sleep. Levels of stress hormones such as cortisol are carefully regulated throughout the night. When sleep is healthy and uninterrupted, the body maintains a balanced hormonal environment that supports heart health. But when sleep quality suffers or harmful habits interfere with the body's natural rhythms, stress hormones can remain elevated. This can contribute to inflammation, higher blood pressure, and increased strain on the cardiovascular system. Even the blood itself undergoes changes while you sleep. The body carefully manages blood flow, oxygen levels, and clotting processes throughout the night. These systems are designed to function in harmony. However, disruptions can alter that balance, potentially increasing cardiovascular risk. This is one reason why many heart attacks and strokes occur during the early morning hours when the body is transitioning from sleep to wakefulness. The remarkable thing is that all of these processes happen automatically. You do not have to think about them. Your body is designed to care for itself while you rest. But that design depends on giving the body the conditions it needs to perform these essential tasks effectively. When those conditions are disrupted night after night, the heart loses some of the protection that sleep is meant to provide. Sleep is not wasted time, it is one of the most powerful tools your body has for maintaining cardiovascular health. Every night, your heart, blood vessels, hormones, and circulation work together in a delicate balance. Understanding that process is the first step toward recognizing why protecting your sleep may be one of the most important investments you can make in your long-term health. One of the most frightening realities about heart attacks is that they often seem to strike without warning. A person can appear healthy, go through a normal day, enjoy time with family, and then suddenly experience a life-threatening cardiac event. To those on the outside, it feels unexpected. But from a medical perspective, a heart attack is usually the result of damage that has been developing quietly over time. The connection between harmful nighttime habits and heart attacks becomes clearer when we understand what these habits do to the cardiovascular system on a repeated basis. Your heart depends on a delicate balance to function properly. It needs a steady supply of oxygen-rich blood, healthy blood vessels, stable blood pressure, and a manageable workload. When any of these factors are disrupted repeatedly, the risk of cardiovascular problems begins to rise. The problem is not always what happens in a single night. It is what happens after weeks, months, or even years of exposing the heart to unnecessary stress. One of the ways this stress develops is through increased strain on the cardiovascular system during hours when the body should be recovering. As we discussed earlier, sleep is designed to give the heart a period of relative rest. Blood pressure should decrease, heart rate should slow, and the body should enter a restorative state. But when certain unhealthy behaviors interfere with this natural process, the heart continues working harder than it should. Night after night, this additional workload can contribute to long-term cardiovascular damage. High blood pressure plays a particularly important role in this process. When blood pressure remains elevated, the force exerted against artery walls increases. Imagine water flowing through a garden hose at a much higher pressure than intended. Over time, that extra force causes wear and tear. The same principle applies inside your blood vessels. Constant pressure can damage the delicate inner lining of arteries, making them more vulnerable to plaque buildup and narrowing. As plaque accumulates within the arteries, blood flow becomes restricted. The coronary arteries, which supply oxygen and nutrients directly to the heart muscle, are especially important. If these arteries become narrowed, the heart may struggle to receive the blood it needs. In some cases, a plaque deposit can rupture unexpectedly. When this happens, the body responds by forming a blood clot at the site of the injury. If that clot blocks blood flow significantly, part of the heart muscle can be deprived of oxygen. That is the moment a heart attack occurs. Inflammation is another critical factor that often goes unnoticed. Chronic inflammation can damage blood vessels and accelerate the development of cardiovascular disease. Many unhealthy habits contribute to elevated inflammation levels throughout the body. The danger is that inflammation does not usually produce obvious symptoms in its early stages. A person may feel perfectly normal while harmful processes continue silently within their arteries. Stress hormones also contribute to the problem. When the body's stress response remains activated for extended periods, heart rate and blood pressure can increase. Over time, this creates additional strain on the cardiovascular system. The heart is remarkably strong, but it was not designed to function under constant stress without adequate recovery. Eventually, the cumulative burden begins to take a toll. Perhaps the most concerning aspect of all is how quietly these changes develop. Many people assume that serious heart disease would produce dramatic symptoms long before a heart attack occurs. While warning signs sometimes appear, that is not always the case. Some individuals experience only subtle symptoms, while others notice nothing at all until a major event takes place. That is why prevention matters so much. Heart attacks rarely result from a single decision or a single night of unhealthy behavior. More often, they are the consequence of patterns repeated over time. Each night that the heart is denied the recovery it needs, the risk may increase a little more. The danger is not always visible, but it is very real. By understanding how these habits affect blood pressure, inflammation, circulation, and artery health, you begin to see that protecting your heart is not about one grand gesture. It is about making choices every day and every night that support the health of the organ that sustains your life. When people hear about cardiovascular disease, they often focus primarily on heart attacks. While heart attacks are certainly dangerous, strokes are equally devastating and can change a person's life in a matter of seconds. A stroke can affect movement, speech, memory, vision, and even basic daily activities. Some individuals recover partially, while others face lifelong challenges. What makes strokes especially alarming is that many of the same unhealthy habits that increase the risk of heart attacks also raise the likelihood of experiencing a stroke. To understand this connection, we first need to understand what a stroke actually is. The brain depends on a constant supply of oxygen-rich blood to function properly. Every thought, movement, memory, and sensation relies on blood reaching brain cells without interruption. Unlike some tissues in the body, brain cells are extremely sensitive to oxygen deprivation. Even a brief disruption in blood flow can cause serious damage. Most strokes occur when blood flow to part of the brain becomes blocked. This blockage is often caused by a blood clot that prevents oxygen and nutrients from reaching brain tissue. When brain cells are deprived of oxygen, they begin to die within minutes. The longer the interruption continues, the greater the damage becomes. This is why strokes are considered medical emergencies and why rapid treatment is so important. The connection between harmful nighttime habits and stroke risk often begins with blood pressure. High blood pressure is one of the most significant risk factors for stroke. When blood pressure remains elevated over long periods, it places tremendous stress on blood vessel walls. Over time, these vessels can become weakened, damaged, or narrowed. This damage makes it easier for clots to form and harder for blood to flow freely throughout the body, including the brain. Think of your blood vessels as a network of highways transporting vital supplies. When those highways become damaged or narrowed, traffic slows down and bottlenecks develop. In the circulatory system, those bottlenecks can become life-threatening. Blood may struggle to reach critical areas, and the risk of blockage increases. A clot that forms in one location can travel through the bloodstream and eventually lodge in a vessel supplying the brain, triggering a stroke. Inflammation also plays a major role in increasing stroke risk. Chronic inflammation affects the health of blood vessels throughout the body. It can contribute to the development of plaque buildup inside arteries, making them narrower and less flexible. These plaques do not simply sit harmlessly within the vessels. They can become unstable, rupture, and trigger clot formation. When that clot blocks blood flow to the brain, the consequences can be devastating. Another important factor is the body's natural rhythm during sleep. Under normal circumstances, sleep supports cardiovascular recovery. Blood pressure decreases, stress hormone levels decline, and the circulatory system experiences a period of relative calm. However, when this recovery process is disrupted, the body may remain in a heightened state of stress. Elevated stress hormones can contribute to increased blood pressure, inflammation, and changes in blood clotting mechanisms. Over time, these effects create conditions that make strokes more likely. What makes stroke risk particularly concerning is that many people do not realize they are vulnerable. They may feel healthy, energetic, and free of symptoms, yet damage can accumulate silently over the years. Blood vessels may become progressively less healthy without producing obvious warning signs. By the time symptoms appear, significant cardiovascular damage may already have occurred. Many stroke survivors describe the experience as completely unexpected. One moment they are carrying out ordinary activities, and the next they are struggling to speak, move, or think clearly. Family members are often shocked because there seemed to be no indication that such a serious event was approaching. The reality is that strokes frequently result from long-term processes that remain hidden until a critical point is reached. This is why understanding risk factors is so important. The choices made consistently over time have a profound impact on the health of your blood vessels and brain. Every effort to support healthy circulation, control blood pressure, and reduce unnecessary strain on the cardiovascular system contributes to lowering stroke risk. The brain depends on healthy blood flow every second of every day. Protecting that flow is one of the most important investments you can make in preserving not only your health, but also your independence, your memories, and your quality of life. One of the greatest dangers associated with cardiovascular disease is that the body often whispers before it screams. Many people imagine that serious heart problems always arrive with dramatic symptoms that are impossible to ignore. They picture sudden chest pain, collapse, or an obvious medical emergency. While those situations certainly occur, the reality is that the heart frequently sends subtle warning signals long before a major event takes place. The tragedy is that these signs are often dismissed, explained away, or simply ignored. The heart is an incredibly resilient organ. It can continue functioning despite increasing levels of stress and damage. Because of this resilience, people often assume everything is fine until the situation becomes severe. However, when the cardiovascular system begins to struggle, the body usually attempts to communicate that something is wrong. The challenge is recognizing those messages before they escalate into a heart attack or stroke. One common warning sign is unusual fatigue. Everyone feels tired occasionally, especially after a busy day or a poor night's sleep. But there is a difference between ordinary tiredness and persistent exhaustion that seems out of proportion to daily activities. When the heart is not pumping blood as efficiently as it should, the body's tissues may receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients. As a result, even routine tasks can begin to feel more demanding. A person may notice that activities that once felt effortless now leave them unusually drained. Shortness of breath is another symptom that deserves attention. Many people automatically attribute breathing difficulties to aging, lack of exercise, or being out of shape. While those factors can certainly play a role, unexplained shortness of breath may indicate that the cardiovascular system is under strain. If the heart is struggling to circulate blood effectively, fluid can sometimes accumulate, making breathing more difficult, especially during physical activity or while lying down. Discomfort in the chest is perhaps one of the most recognized warning signs, but even this symptom is frequently misunderstood. Not every cardiovascular problem produces intense, crushing pain. Some individuals experience pressure, tightness, heaviness, or a sensation of fullness rather than sharp pain. Others describe a feeling that something simply does not feel right. Because these sensations can be mild or intermittent, people often delay seeking medical attention. The body may also send signals through other areas beyond the chest. Discomfort can sometimes spread to the shoulders, arms, neck, jaw, or upper back. These symptoms may come and go, making them easy to dismiss. A person might assume they slept in an awkward position, strained a muscle, or simply overworked themselves. Yet in some cases, these seemingly unrelated aches can be connected to underlying cardiovascular issues. Changes in sleep patterns can also serve as warning signs. Some people find themselves waking frequently during the night, experiencing unusual restlessness, or feeling unrefreshed despite spending enough time in bed. Others may notice episodes of sudden awakening accompanied by discomfort, breathlessness, or an increased heart rate. While sleep disturbances can have many causes, persistent changes should never be ignored, especially when combined with other symptoms. Dizziness, lightheadedness, or unexplained episodes of weakness may also indicate that the cardiovascular system is not functioning optimally. The brain depends on a steady supply of oxygen-rich blood. When circulation is compromised, symptoms affecting balance, concentration, or alertness can develop. These episodes may be brief, but they can signal underlying problems that warrant attention. What makes these warning signs particularly dangerous is their ability to blend into everyday life. People are busy. They have responsibilities, families, careers, and countless distractions competing for their attention. It becomes easy to explain away symptoms as stress, aging, lack of sleep, or temporary discomfort. Yet every ignored signal represents a missed opportunity to identify a problem before it becomes a crisis. The most important lesson is that the body rarely benefits from being ignored. Symptoms do not always mean something serious is happening, but they do deserve respect. The heart works continuously throughout your life, asking for very little in return. When it begins to send messages that something is wrong, listening carefully may be one of the most important decisions you ever make. Early recognition can provide the chance to address problems before they progress, potentially preventing the devastating consequences of a heart attack or stroke. The encouraging news in all of this is that while heart attacks and strokes are serious threats, many of the factors that contribute to them are within your control. You cannot change your age, your genetics, or certain aspects of your medical history, but you can influence many of the daily choices that affect your cardiovascular health. Small adjustments, practiced consistently, can have a powerful impact over time. The goal is not perfection. The goal is creating conditions that allow your heart and blood vessels to function as effectively as possible. One of the most important changes begins with recognizing that health is built through habits rather than isolated actions. Many people wait for a major wake-up call before they decide to prioritize their well-being. They tell themselves they will make changes after a diagnosis, after a scare, or after symptoms appear. Unfortunately, cardiovascular disease often develops silently, which is why prevention is far more valuable than reaction. The choices you make today can help reduce risks that might otherwise emerge years from now. Quality sleep should become a non-negotiable part of your health strategy. Sleep is not a luxury or a reward for finishing your work. It is a biological necessity. During healthy sleep, your body regulates blood pressure, repairs tissues, balances hormones, and supports cardiovascular recovery. Protecting your sleep schedule by maintaining consistent bedtimes and creating an environment that promotes restful sleep can provide benefits that extend far beyond feeling refreshed in the morning. Managing stress is equally important. Modern life exposes many people to constant mental and emotional pressure. While some stress is unavoidable, chronic stress places a significant burden on the cardiovascular system. Stress hormones can contribute to elevated blood pressure, inflammation, and increased workload on the heart. Learning effective ways to manage stress, whether through physical activity, relaxation techniques, meaningful relationships, or quiet moments of reflection, can help protect your heart over the long term. Physical activity remains one of the most powerful tools available for cardiovascular health. The human body was designed to move. Regular movement helps strengthen the heart, improve circulation, support healthy blood pressure, and enhance overall well-being. The good news is that meaningful benefits do not require extreme workouts or athletic performance. Consistent activity performed over time often produces greater results than occasional bursts of intense effort. Nutrition also plays a central role in protecting the cardiovascular system. Every meal provides an opportunity either to support your health or to place additional strain on your body. A balanced approach focused on nourishing foods can help maintain healthy blood vessels, support proper circulation, and reduce many risk factors associated with heart disease and stroke. What matters most is not a short-term diet but a sustainable pattern of eating that promotes long-term wellness. Regular medical checkups are another valuable safeguard. High blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, and other cardiovascular risk factors often develop without noticeable symptoms. Routine monitoring allows problems to be identified early, sometimes years before they lead to serious complications. Many lives have been saved simply because a potential issue was discovered and addressed before it became an emergency. It is also important to pay attention to your body. Too often, people ignore warning signs because they are busy or because they assume symptoms will disappear on their own. While not every symptom indicates a serious problem, unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, chest discomfort, dizziness, or significant changes in physical capacity deserve attention. Seeking medical guidance when something feels wrong is not overreacting, it is being responsible with your health. Perhaps the most important change of all is adopting a long-term perspective. Heart health is not determined by what you do once, it is determined by what you do consistently. Every healthy choice may seem small in isolation, but over months and years, those choices accumulate. They influence your blood pressure, circulation, artery health, energy levels, and overall quality of life. Your heart has been working tirelessly since before you were born. It has never taken a vacation, never asked for recognition, and never stopped serving you. The least we can do is provide it with the care and support it deserves. By making thoughtful choices, staying informed, and taking preventive action, you greatly improve your chances of living a longer, healthier, and more active life. The steps may be simple, but their impact can be profound. Your future health is being shaped by the decisions you make today. As we come to the end of this discussion, I want you to remember one thing. Heart attacks and strokes rarely happen without a cause. In many cases, the warning signs and risk factors have been building quietly for months or even years. The good news is that you have more control than you may realize. Every healthy choice you make, every night of quality sleep, every effort to manage stress, every step you take toward a healthier lifestyle is an investment in the future of your heart. Don't wait for a frightening diagnosis to start paying attention. Don't assume that feeling fine means everything is fine. Your body is constantly giving you information, and your heart is depending on you to listen. The habits you practice today can either strengthen your health or slowly undermine it. If this message has taught you anything, let it be this: protect your heart before it asks for help. Take the warning signs seriously, respect the power of healthy habits, and never underestimate the importance of what you do before you go to sleep each night. Your heart has faithfully served you every second of your life. Make the decision today to start serving it back, because the choices you make tonight could determine whether you wake up healthier tomorrow and whether you enjoy many more tomorrows to come. Stay healthy, stay informed, and take care of your heart. It may just save your life.